Hey guys, and welcome to Azul Coding. In this video I'll show you how to create your own simple photo editor in WPF, including how to make brightness and contrast adjustments, add filters, rotate the image, and of course save the final image to your PC. As always, there will be a link to all the code in the description down below. I'll be writing this in C#, but there's a vbnet translation available if you follow the link and then scroll down. I've already created the UI controls that we're going to be using, and I'll talk you through those in just a minute. But first we need to add a reference to the project. To do this, click on Project in Visual Studio and then Add Reference. If we search for drawing, the reference we need to include is system.drawing. Then click OK. Next we need to add the reference in the code like so. Let's set up the core functionality for the photo editor. As you can see, I'm using an image control to display the edited image, and I've also got a range of UI controls such as sliders and radio buttons to allow the user to specify how the image should be edited. Of course, it's entirely up to you how you design your application. So let's continue by focusing on the functionality. To make it simple, I'm using one generic event handler for all the controls, so the image will be updated via the same function for the sliders here, and for the rest of the controls like this one. Let's now take a look at the code. We'll start by adding in variables to hold the original image and the edited image. Then I'll use a sample image that I have in my Pictures folder. You can of course let the user decide which image to use, with an open file dialog for example. Now, to access the tools to edit the image with ease, we're making use of the system.drawing reference we added earlier. To display a system.drawing image in WPF, we need to convert it to a bitmap image. We start by creating the memory stream, and then essentially writing the data from the system.drawing.bitmap to the bitmap image object like so. And now we can use that function to initially set the image in the UI to the original image. Let's begin by making brightness and contrast adjustments. I'll use this event handler I made earlier to apply the edits to the image every time the user changes the brightness or contrast using the sliders in this case. We'll first set up some variables for the brightness and contrast. And because the contrast scale we're using can go from half contrast to double the contrast, we need to do some maths to convert the slider value to the correct scale like so. To apply colour adjustments to an image, we use a colour matrix, which allows for quick on-the-fly editing, and I'll just copy in the matrix we're going to be using. As you can see, the contrast value has been applied to the first 3 rows, and the brightness is along the last row. To apply that matrix to the image, we first need to create a bitmap object, image attributes object, and a rectangle that will define the boundaries for the image. And we use the setColorMatrix function to apply the matrix to the image. Now we need to draw the image using the system.drawing.graphics class, and we do that like so, taking into account the boundaries for the image and its size, as well as the image attributes object that contains our color matrix. And finally we'll update the edited image variable and the image in the UI like so. Let's run the application with what we got so far and see how it looks. So as I move these slides across, the brightness and contrast have been adjusted on the image as you'd expect. Let's now add colour filters and rotation to our photo editor. The user will use these radio buttons to switch between filters, and in this video we'll cover grayscale, red, green and blue filters. Let's go to the code. To convert the image to grayscale, we need another color matrix, and so I'll copy one in here. The only problem is we can only apply one color matrix to an image at a time. That means if a user decides to, say, adjust the brightness and convert to grayscale, we'll need to multiply these two matrices together to form one combined color matrix. This long function here does that for us, and I'll leave a link to the source of this function in the description down below. So let's modify the code and add in the combined color matrix. Let's run the application and see if it works. So clicking on the grey radio button and the image turns to grayscale. And we can also make some brightness and contrast adjustments on top of that as well. Let's return to the code and add in the other colour filters. To add a red colour filter, for example, we first convert the image to grayscale as we did before, and then apply a semi-transparent colour on top of it. So let's do this for red, green and blue, and you can of course apply your own colours, or let the user choose which colour to apply. Let's test that quickly and see if it works. There we are, we've now added all the colour filters. We now need to add a functionality for these rotation buttons, so let's return to the code. I'll just add a global variable here to keep track of the current rotation value. If we scroll down, we now check whether one of the rotation buttons was clicked, and if so, we need to update the current rotation value. First we'll check if the user clicked on a button and then find out which button that was. And then we'll update the rotation value by cycling through 90 degrees anti-clockwise or clockwise, making sure that we map the values back into the range 0 degrees to 270 degrees like so. And lastly, towards the end of the function, we can add a switch statement to check the current rotation value. We simply use the rotate flip function to rotate the image, and it's also worth noting that you can also flip the image by choosing one of the options shown here. Let's now see the rotation in action. So that seems to be working fine. I can keep rotating the image in either direction. Let's finish by allowing the user to export and save the final edited image. We'll start by adding a click event handler on the export button like so. Then in the code, all we need to do is use the save function on the edited image variable, and I'll save the edited image to the pictures directory along with the original. I'll also add in a message box as well. Let's make some edits and save the edited image to see if it works. So that's saved, let's take a look, and there we are. If you're looking for an example app with a photo editor like this and countless other features, I've created a suite of WPF desktop apps that are all open source. Check out the link in the description to find out more. All of the code to this video is available on my website, and be sure to head to the channel for more WPF tutorials. Don't forget to leave a like if you enjoyed this video, and subscribe for more content still to come. Why not check out these videos on the channel as well? Thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon.